Weiss from the Torah Carta. Rabbi Weiss, let's give a round of applause.
With the help of the Almighty, I pray to the Almighty that He should bestow upon me His truth, His wisdom, that I may be worthy of conveying His message and so sanctifying His name and inshallah bring peace to the world. Assalamu alaikum. It's always an honor and a privilege to come. Unfortunately, I'm coming too often for the wrong reason, but it's very ironic because our history was always living together in the same courtyards, in the same houses, in the same neighborhoods for sure, babysitting each other's children. Now this was of course in Palestine, in Palestine, for the hundreds of years when it was under the Ottoman control. And of course this was not only in Palestine, but in every single Arab and Muslim country. If anybody, I'm sure there's a blend from not only from Palestine, but from many other countries, and people know the history. We know that the Jewish people, we had a history of 2,000 years of being in different countries, dispersed throughout the world, and in many countries in Europe, there was a forced attempt to forcibly convert Jews out of their religion. There was the Inquisition, there was the Crusades. We went through many hardships, and the Jewish people, many of them had to run away from the lands they were in, or they were banished from the lands that they were living in. Spain, Portugal, there was many lands like that. And where did the Jews go? The Arab and the Muslim countries opened their doors and embraced us, and we flourished in all these countries as distinctly religious Jewish people upholding the Torah amongst distinctly religious Muslim people. Yet there was no necessity for any human rights groups. We flourished, we put out our greatest rabbis, our communities flourished. It was something to behold. This was our history. And in Palestine, we have many writers, many people of the book, we have many rabbis who've written about the history, about how they lived, many anecdotes. And even myself, when I come to Patterson, there's times I come to the stores to shop here and people tell me their stories. And I go around the world, thank God, and I hear stories. People stop me on the streets, whether it's an Arab or Muslim country. It's no difference. Where I go, they tell me, hey, I want to tell you a story how we used to live together. And they tell us nice, beautiful anecdotes, how they helped each other, how they saved people from their troubles, and both ways. It went two ways. The Jewish people were helped by the Muslim people helped the Jewish people, the Arab people. There was no difference. There was simply no difference. The religion was never an impediment. And that is what we have to really solidify, clarify amongst where we're living here in the United States and throughout Europe and throughout the world. Unfortunately, the Zionists have a free ride for over 70 years. They've had the platform to themselves in which they tried to create a new narrative that there is a religious conflict between Jews and Muslims, and that the reason for the strife, the reason for the suffering is because the Palestinian people are villains. They hate the Jewish people, and that's revolting, that's repulsive, that's unacceptable. And we as Jews feel the responsibility. Our great rabbis, the chief rabbi of Palestine, Rabbi Teitelbaum of blessed memory, who he himself moved out of Palestine, moved to the United States, Williamsburg, New York, and he urged his followers to move and to come out. Not everybody was able to. It's extremely hard to relocate, but many left, tens of thousands, and they came to New York or went to London or other Jewish neighborhoods. And he urged them that they must go out in the streets and to the different areas, to go around the world and let people know that we are being falsely represented, that our identity, the name Israel, which is Jacob in the Torah, the Star of David, has all been stolen. They have no right, the Zionist state of Israel, to claim that it is theirs. Because what is Judaism? Judaism is a religion of 3,000 years to be subservient to the Almighty. We made a covenant with God on Mount Sinai to be subservient. And in the Torah, there's many laws. Half the laws of the Torah is how one should have rahmanis, should have compassion, should do good for the fellow human being, that he should help them, and see that even to break a piece of wood is illegal. Who's talking about to cut down olive orchards, to cut down the olive trees, which is forbidden? But every single part of our Torah is intertwined with how we must have compassion. Mahu racham avatotei racham. Just as the Almighty is compassionate, you must be compassionate. Judaism is 3,000 years old. This concept of occupying Palestine, this movement that's waving the Star of David, that's using the name Israel, is a mere 100-odd years. Their country is 73 years, but their movement is 100-odd years. Our religion is 3,000 years, and our religion is contradictory to this. We really have to have the world understand that if they respect just that, as they would not dictate to the Pope or to the Christian leadership how they should practice their religion or what their religion is about, they should not dictate for the Jewish people what our religion is, and say that we have a right, and that the Zionists have a right to occupy in the name of the Jewish religion the people of Palestine, the Muslim people, the Christian people, and even the Jewish people who they are oppressing in Palestine. This is unacceptable. I know they're looking at me that I have to really shorten it. It's such a pity. We will have to spend other times, good times we hope, and good occasions. But I just want to always, I quote, in the name of the chief rabbi of Palestine in 1947, he said, and this is the United Nations documents, Rabbi Dushinsky, in July 16, 1947, a year before the United Nations ratified the State of Israel, and he said, "We furthermore wish to express our definite opposition to a Jewish state in any part of Palestine." And he was representing the Jewish communities. The Zionists, in order to get around this, made a rabbinate and a chief rabbi. And therefore they're traipsing around the world with their chief rabbis. But let you know that we have hundreds of thousands of Jews who are in the occupied Palestine, in Al-Quds in Jerusalem. And around the world we have right here, your neighbors in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and other areas in Muncie, where you won't find in Williamsburg one single Israeli flag. What you will find is that the Jewish people, true to the Torah, invariably oppose the opposition, the occupation, and they cry and they hurt, and they are humiliated and frustrated what is happening to the Palestinian people. It's unacceptable. We pray to God and we urge everybody to pray, because ultimately we have to do. But it's the Almighty who will bring an end to this occupation. So let us not be frustrated. Let us try to remember. Thank you. But let us try to remember that we have to do it, even though it looks that it's unattainable, like you thought that USSR will never end, as many others, South Africa will never end the apartheid. But it ended overnight, USSR. This will end because God in the Torah writes, "Why are you rebelling against me? It will not be successful." This will end. Let's take heart. Again, let's take heart. What we have to do, the Almighty requires of us that we have to stand up and remember that while we're here in this beautiful weather, in beautiful Clifton, and beautiful Patterson, that there are our brothers and sisters in occupied Palestine. They're in the refugee camps, in squalor, in Lebanon, in Syria, and throughout. We have to stand up for them and not be tired and not be intimidated. You are not anti-Semitic. Whenever you're attacked as anti-Semitic, point to the Jews who are very religious in your neighborhoods here. And talk about the Jews who are being beaten daily in Palestine because they're standing up and demonstrating. They're not carrying arms. One of must stand up and tirelessly plead with your leaders till they will come to the true logic and the truth that occupying the people of Palestine is a crime. It's a Nakba, and the victims are the people of Palestine. The villains is the Zionist state of Israel. It must be ended. God help speedily and peacefully. Our hearts are with you. Kalbi ma Palestine. Kalbi ma Gaza. Kalbi ma. We will prevail. We will be successful. God should help sooner nowadays with a peaceful removal of the Zionist state of Israel and a free Palestine. Judaism, yes. Zionism, no. The state of Israel must go. Judaism, yes. Zionism, no. The state of Israel must go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Zionism, no more. Zionism, no more. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Israel is not a Jewish state. Israel is not a Jewish state. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Israel, no more. Israel, no more. 5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. End the killing and the hate. End the killing and the hate. 3, 5, 7, 9. 3, 5, 7, 9. Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
Let's keep it going for Rabbi Weiss. Take a round of applause. Thank you so much, Rabbi Weiss. We always appreciate your presence, whether it may be here in Clifton, whether it may be in Patterson, or wherever you guys show up. Your presence is always appreciated, and we stand with you and you stand with us, and we will always be one anti-Zionist movement. So let's give a round of applause once again for Rabbi Weiss. I'd like to acknowledge